good.
So this will look nice.
Yeah.
Cool. Well,
Okay. All right, Natasha. First of all, talk about just the last few months, what it's been like in terms of over here, the buzz has been building. I know you've been going at this for a long time. But has there been a different sense of your own success and kind of the buzz building around you, and what's that kind of been like for you?
I think this time, well, when we played New York, it kind of sold out this time, and tonight sold out in LA. So I think the coastal cities are kind of catching on to it a lot. We came about a month ago and did 6 dates, and it felt like there were some hardcore fans there, like, oh my God, like really into it. But this time it feels like, we've driven all the way across the country and been on tour for 2 weeks now. And most of the venues, everyone's been really into it and really respectful and lovely and quiet audiences and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it's exciting. I mean, for me, the main thrill is just like seeing the landscape and being able to, travel across America in a bus is pretty epic for a musician.
Yeah. Any spectacular things that you've seen that have really stood out for you? We
went to the Grand Canyon the day before yesterday, and that was intense because it was so big that my eyes I couldn't really capture the concept of it, so I just kept thinking it was a painting or like a backdrop. So I was like zoning out, and then we crawled out right onto the edge of a rock and just lying over, and you feel like you could just, do a Thelma and Louise or whatever, just dive off. But so that was beautiful, and we saw some beautiful Native American jewellery and crazy teepees and sculptures up in the mountains, and it's been cool.
Now, are you the type that on a day like that are keeping journals or drawing pictures? Does that always come into what you do in terms of your art? Does that all come out somewhere?
Yeah, I've been taking Polaroid pictures this tour and getting really good at taking them out of the bus, and because the windows are tinted, it looks like an old film. It's really filmic. So I've just taken loads of Polaroids, which I'm going to make a book of for everyone of the tour. And just sketching, writing, thinking about things. I'm reading Neil Young's autobiography at the moment, and it talks about his crazy tour bus that he had, that he got all made out with walnut wood, and even the microwave handle had wood on it and stuff. It sounds really cool. I was like, getting some ideas. And just really soaking up the American culture. There's a real sense of history, and just because coming from England, you have a very kind of what's the word, intense and outright sense of history in terms of castles and medieval stuff and all of that. But in America, I think being in all the cities, you don't get that so much. But then when you go into the landscape, you feel the ancientness of it. And for someone I love history and ancestry and all that kind of stuff. So that's been really cool to grasp that side of the States.
Mm-hmm. When did you know that kind of left? Yes? Okay. Just something. And of the natural world. And when did you know that could all work in your music? When did that kind of seep into it? When did you know that was part of what you did?
I think just growing up, experiencing different landscapes and different cultures it was very natural to me to kind of walk. I lived by a system of lakes, and I'd walk at night time, and there were bats and the full moon and pine forests and stuff. So the English countryside was very much just in me, and I always thought I was going to be an ecologist or a marine biologist or something. I was quite nerdy when I was at school, and I was obsessed with David Attenborough documentaries and stuff. So I never really consciously thought that it would be part of my music. I think it naturally happened in terms of storytelling and fairy tales and mythology and folklore. There's a lot of those things deal with animal symbolism and the cycles of nature and day and night and the cosmos, and so you have there's a huge wealth of historical information that's kind of dealing with all of those things to do with weather and landscapes and nature and the great forces. Mm-hmm. And just naturally I like to read about that kind of stuff. So
Well, what's it like for you? Yeah? I think we're okay.
I can hear it. It's faint, but I can hear it.
If something sounds real bad, we'll just put it on. Just talk about your fans that get into that. I know your fans come to your shows. I haven't seen it. How many fans put on the feathers, want to dress like you and wear makeup and get into the things you're talking about? Is that part of what's going on now?
There's definitely a few that come along with the headdresses and the glitter and stuff, which is interesting to see and quite sweet, and I like that. You know, it's cool. It's good. I think it's better than them coming along in like push-up bras and bleached hair and stuff. You know, it could be a lot worse. But no, you know, I like to encourage people to do things individual to them. So I think I admire people that can come along and just express themselves in their own way.
Mm-hmm. Talk about the music on this album. You actually have such a nice prop on this record here. Just talking about just what you're proudest of, what you achieved with Fur and Gold, and what it's been like since the album came out.
Well, to get it out on vinyl was really cool. I don't know if you've got the midnight. Have you got the blue one here, or is this the black? Oh, sugar. Sorry. This is the black vinyl, but anyway, it came out on blue vinyl, which was really nice, limited edition. I think just with that album, it was my first foray into the studio and kind of working on a body of work. And I had finished my university degree and did like soundtracks and films and, you know, installations and sculpture and animation, but never really put anything out into the world. And so to sort of take all these songs that I wrote in my bedroom on sequencers and doing my own demos and production and working on all the parts and all that, and then taking it into a studio where you get this kind of panoramic Technicolor view of your work is that's a real thrill, I think, for a musician, is to get or an artist to get what's inside your head out into a physical thing you can hold. Is amazing. And so I'm really pleased. I'm just pleased that it's a universe of its own. It's definitely something that you can dive into, and all the textures and details are all in there. And it was very much my vision and what I wanted at the time. And obviously over the year that's changed, and I want to explore other areas now. So for me, it's like my first little baby, and now it's grown up and out in the world, and I want to start thinking about the next one.
When did you know your voice, your voice was something special, and that you were a singer, and that?
I didn't know that for a long time. I think maybe when I was 20, I really just started singing. I'm 27 now, so when I was 20, I started singing in front of people properly and gaining some confidence. But up until then, I think I just used to sing quietly in my bedroom and just be really shy and embarrassed. And then my mum would be like, "Oh, what's that awful racket? Just shut up, it sounds awful," because I'd be squealing away in my bedroom and trying to impersonate Courtney Love. And I was really into Nirvana and everything, and I didn't realise for a long time that I have quite a pure voice. Like it's not really a riot girl kind of thing. So I think I was sort of looking in the wrong area. But then, yeah, it took a while to build that confidence. But when it started coming, I tried to use it as much as possible and use it in conjunction with emotions. And I think that's when it comes out more, you know, just more strongly.
How emotional do you get on stage when you're actually there performing? How much do you go into your own head, and how much of it is emotion? How much are you playing to the crowd and the theatricality of the show take over?
It's definitely an emotion-led show. I think that if I'm not feeling it, I feel quite disappointed, or, you know, like I'm letting people down. I think it's really important to embody the work that you're trying to project, and so it is a very emotional thing. I close, if I'm not getting into it, I'll close my eyes and try and envisage the landscape and the characters and the colours and all of that, so that I can give out something pure and special for people. And obviously sometimes when you have sound problems, things like that, it snaps you out of the place you're in, and so it's all about getting back to that original source, you know. And I mean, last night in Sarah, I had a fit of like almost hysterics and crying at the same time, because it was so powerful so I just had to kind of hide my face for a while, because I was smiling but almost crying. It was a really strange experience, because we had really good sound last night, and it was just an amazing sounding show, really exciting for us. So yeah, sometimes when I do really sad ones, I get sad and see people crying in the audience and stuff. So it is definitely based on emotion.
What's it like knowing you're touching people in that way at a show or afterwards when what you're doing means so much to people out there that they're feeling the same emotions you have or having their own thing going on?
I think it's great because it's, I mean, although I talk a lot about kind of human emotions, I guess, and I have stories that I tell and all that, I think that to elevate people into a place where they're feeling something, they're feeling alive, or they're feeling a sense of magic or liberation or freedom or sensuality or any of those feelings, because everyone, you know, a lot of people go through their everyday life not really feeling emotions because they're too busy, or they have to get there, or they have to do that, or they have to cover something up, and they're, you know, you repress yourself constantly. And to be like a catalyst to someone releasing that tension and feeling and crying or like smiling and dancing is the best feeling in the world. And I think it's really vital that people have communal experiences where they can do that, and that's why music, I think, and especially live music, is so important.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and I mean, I only ever write music to make myself feel like that, so it always surprises me when other people do too.
What artists inspired you and still inspire you to this day? Are there certain people you look up to, either how they carry themselves and how they base their career or anything like that?
Well, I think, I mean, when I got good comments from Tom York, and York came to the show in London and said it was amazing, and so having comments from artists like that is really wonderful, because they're the types of artists that I respect in terms of the fact that they've had long careers and they've taken risks and they work outside of the mainstream and they don't compromise anything. And so that, you know, those types of artists I really admire. And then there's these sort of older generation, like all the ones around here, like Joni Mitchell and Stevie Nicks, Neil Young, you know, and they're, you know, they have like a great tradition of songwriting and just touching people in that kind of simple, emotion-based way. Well, not even that simple sometimes, but just, you know, in that kind of raw, beautiful human way.
Mm-hmm.
So, but my inspiration is so far-stretched, like it's so varied, it could be anything, you know, and films are very inspirational to me, I think, cinema especially,
Mm-hmm.
and stories.
Do you enjoy the photo shoots and being on camera and the video making, and as long as you're doing your own thing and being artistic with it, is that a big part of what you do? Do you enjoy that process of? I
enjoy the creative thing of like visual, you know, creative visuals. I like doing illustrations like on the album. I like collaborating with video directors to get across the visual symbols that I want for the song, and I like, you know, the photos and stuff like that. I think it's a means to an end, you know, like you go and you try and be as creative as you can in the way you present yourself, and, you know, I don't show all my flesh and I don't try and be all like, you know, just a pretty face or whatever. I think it's important that if you're going to do photographs that you have something to say. You know, people are very visually trained, so they'll see a pretty picture and then they might want to read about something, and so then you use that to say something intelligent and, you know, and to try and transport people in some way.
You mentioned people like Bjork and Tom York and some of the people, Joni Mitchell. What's it like knowing that you're on that kind of trajectory where you can be, you know, talked about in the same handful of names?
I don't know if I can be talked about in the same way as them, but I hope in the future, you know, after a long career, I hope that. But it feels like I'm just on the, you know, on the kind of, they're the beautiful flowers that are up there, and I'm the little ant like walking around at the moment going, oh, this is cool, and, you know, feeling my way around. And I think that eventually, you know, as the albums go by, I think you create a body of work that people kind of can respect, and that's important to me. But I don't think I'm up there with those people.
You're
yet.
definitely in the garden now, at least.
Yeah, I'm in the garden. I'm getting down there. I'm getting there.
Yeah. Do you get nervous on a night like this in LA when there's a big show and it's sold out, and maybe even celebrities come into the show and the place is going to be packed? Do you even think about that, or is it fun?
I don't think about that really. I try not to because it creeps me out thinking about that. But no, I think you just try and stay in your own kind of space. You keep your feet on the ground and you do like the most sincere and honest thing that you can do. And it's not really my scene to kind of hang out with celebrities and stuff. I mean, LA is obviously the place of celebrity, but I think I would much rather be having a cup of tea and looking out of my window at the sea and, you know, having my cats and blankets and stuff around. That's much more my thing that kind of keeps me nourished and feeling good. And
What
so
are
I'll
you doing?
probably avoid all the scary people in the audience tonight.
Hopefully maybe they might find you anyway. When you're not on tour, when you're not doing this, what are you doing? Are you always doing something creative, or what do you do when you're not doing music?
Well, I don't know what it's like not to do music right now because I haven't done anything else but for like a year and a half, 2 years. But when I do get a chance to be at home, I think it's just reconnecting with good friends, and I like to go swimming in the sea a lot because I live in Brighton, right by the sea. So we go like skinny dipping, and we bake cakes, we have dinners together, drink wine. You know, I read and try and keep my brain going. You know, I like to investigate different obsessions that I get into. And then I'm always thinking really about what I can make next. I think I am always making something really.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm not making something for myself, I'll be making a present. Like I just made someone a little shadow puppetry mini theatre like lamp, and then you know, I'll be embroidering something or making patchwork quilts, and so, you know, I like to make things, but I think there's certain types of making where it's very meditative and you can just be knitting and you get lost in that thing, and it's a meditation and it's quiet and you just have these things you make and it feels really good and domestic. Because when you're in the tour bus and travelling all around lights and crazy people and stuff, it's good to get home and just be really boring.
Yeah.
And that's where creativity breeds as well. You know, the more bored you are, the better the ideas, I think.
Right. Well, then here's to lots of boredom.
Yay! Thank you.
Pleasure meeting you, Natasha.
Thank you.